All right, at 6:30, we will call this meeting to order, and our first order of business will be pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heidi, anything else for the agenda?
No.
Tony?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I would like to amend the agenda letter from the architect and town hall committee under old business.
Okay. Very good. And yeah. Anything else?
That's it for me.
Okay, very good. I believe that covers some of them that, oh, one other under old business is the road vacation headies. All right, with that, agenda will be set and we'll move into the clerk's report.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second it. All in favor, aye. Overland, aye.
Bakhtiari, aye.
I did not hear the motion.
Motion to approve the agenda.
To approve the what?
Agenda.
Aye, Cronin, aye.
All right. Clerk's report.
Okay. Meeting minutes, May 9th, 2024. The meeting was called to order at 6:30 p.m. at YMCA Camp Miller by Chairman Allen Overland. The meeting opened with the Pledge of Allegiance. Present supervisors Overland, Cronin, Bakhtiari, Clerk Walcher, Treasurer Horgan, Zoning Administrator Dennis General, Assistant to the Road Supervisor Vern Anderson. Approval of agenda. Motion by Bakhtiari to approve the agenda, second by Overland. Motion carried. Clerk's report. March 14th. Board meeting minutes were read by Clerk Walcher. Minor corrections made. Motion by Bakhtiari to approve April minutes with corrections, second by Overland. Motion carried. I had in my notes that I read minutes for another special meeting, but I can't remember what the meeting was.
I'll take a look. Minute.
I'm just going to go on then. Treasurer's report. Horgan reviewed the financial reports. The total cash balance as of April 30th, 2024 was $994,606.23. Motion by Bakhtiari to approve the treasurer's report, second by Overland. Motion carried. The detailed financial reports are posted on the Township website. Public input. Cindy Walcher commented. Tim Floor commented. Old business, none. New business. Petition by John Hedden to vacate a road on Sturgeon Island. Motion by Overland for a public hearing on June 13th at 8:30 p.m. for vacating an unused portion of Shoreside Lane on Sturgeon Island as petitioned by John Hedden, second by Bakhtiari. Motion carried. Vote taken. Motion carried. Reschedule road review. Motion by Overland to set the supervisor's road review in September or October, second by Bakhtiari. Overland, aye. Bakhtiari, aye. Cronin, nay. Motion carried. Second date to interview hire town coordinator. Motion by Bakhtiari to conduct the interviews on May 23rd at 1 p.m. at 316 Elm Avenue, Moose Lake. An alternate date of May 17th at 4 p.m. Second by Overland. Overland, aye. Bakhtiari, aye. Cronin, absent for the vote. Motion carried. Board of Supervisors of Overland reported on an office available for rent at 316 Elm Avenue, Moose Lake, to use as a township office for the new coordinator and hold meetings for $420 a month and $50 for use of the large meeting room. Motion by Overland to sign a one-year lease with Scott Anderson Property Management for the office space at 316 Elm Avenue for the $420 a month, including utilities for the office space and the larger meeting room for $50 per use, with an additional cost for internet service. Second by Bakhtiari. Vote taken. Motion passed. Motion by Terry to hold a monthly board meeting in June, July, August at the Moose Lake City Hall, second by Overland. Vote, I've got to vote 2-1. Terry and Overland, aye. Cronin, nay. Motion carried. Terry recommended a committee be set up to determine the cost-benefit analysis for a future town hall. Motion by Overland for each supervisor to recommend 2 candidates willing to serve on a town hall study committee. Second by Terry. Vote taken. Motion carried. The candidates will be named at the June meeting. The township pit will be open to Windemere citizens every third Saturday of each month through September, if needed, October, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Excuse me, one correction. I might have said 9 o'clock, but it should be 10.
10?
Yes.
With proof of residency for brush and leaves, no stumps will be allowed. Cronin asked about the right-of-way process and who makes the determination for inspection and engineering. Anderson reported the designated engineering firm makes the determination. Motion by Terry to hold the proposed draft shoreline ordinance public hearing on May 30th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. at the township office located at 316 Elm Avenue, Moose Lake, second by Cronin. Vote taken, motion passed. Road update. Assistant to the road supervisor Anderson reported on the completed and pending road work. The report will be posted on the township website. Anderson discussed the township pit cleanup and the need for a pit boss. Motion by Terry to designate Gopal Excavating at no cost to the township as the pit boss and allow the company to buy sand from the township at market value in exchange for Gopal to provide clay to make the class 5 needed for the township. Second by Overland. Terry, aye. Overland, aye. Cronin, nay. Vote 2-1, motion carried. Motion by Terry for Vern Anderson, assistant to the road supervisor, to be a salaried employee at $1,250 a month plus mileage. Second by Overland. Terry, aye. Overland, aye. Cronin, nay. Vote 2-1, motion carried. Zoning update. General reported 25 permits, 2 dwellings, 2 dwelling additions, 1 camper, 8 garages, pole barns, barn, 2 garage additions, 2 sheds, 4 shoreland restorations, 1 fence, 1 dormer, 2 permit renewals, 2 variances. Conditional permit hearing for zoning map adjustment is in process. There are permits that need to be closed out with a final inspection. Planning Commission update. Chair Diana Sandstrom requested approval for a $750 fee for application for rezoning properties. Motion by Overland to approve the $750 fee as proposed. Second by Cronin. Vote taken. Motion carried. Fire District update, no report. Claims for a total of $196,333.47. Motion by Terry to approve claims. Second by Overland. Motion carried. Open mail and review. Motion to adjourn at 9:15 by Terry, second by Overland. Motion carried 3-0.
All right, you've heard the minutes. Any corrections or additions other than the one made?
Was there that meeting?
There was the Board of Equalization. I don't have the date. You read that?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
the
that's what
clerk's
it was.
report, Board of Equalization, I don't have a date, but motion by Bakhtiari, second by Overland, 3-0.
Okay, so that shall be added. Very good.
And then
That was April.
Board of Supervisors, other under 3, you said you had a 2-1. There was a motion, I believe that, I don't know if this one is the one that was rescinded, but it is a vote 3-0.
That was April 25th.
The Board of Equalization?
Yes. All right, any other corrections or additions? Hearing none, a motion would be in order to approve.
So,
Is there a second? I'll second it. All in favor? Aye. Overland, aye.
Terry, aye.
Coney, aye.
Very good.
Okay, I've got 2 other meetings. Special meeting, Windemere Township Board, interviews for Township Coordinator, May 23rd, 2024. The meeting was called to order at 1 p.m. by Chair Al Overland. Others present were Supervisors Cronin, Bacteria, Cliff Walcher, Planning Commission Chair Diana Sandstrom, and Cindy Carlson. The first order of business was to approve a liquor, wine, and gambling license for Ray and Marge's. Motion by Bacteria, second by Overland to approve said licenses. Vote taken, motion passed. 2 candidates for Township Coordinator, Brittany Stampahar, sorry Brittany, and Pat Ullman were then asked questions by each of the board members. The motion was made by Cronin, second by Bacteria to allow Cindy Walcher of the Planning Commission to be able to ask questions of the candidates.
Cindy Carlson. You said Cindy Walcher, it's Cindy Carlson, isn't it?
Did I say, well, I'm sorry, Carlson. Vote taken, motion passed. A motion was made by Bacteria, seconded by Overland to authorize the chairman to conduct a background check on the selected candidate, Brittany Stampahar, and upon clearance of background check, legal identity, no criminal record, and positive previous employment check, negotiate an employment offer at the annual rate of $67,500 and up to $10,000 in benefits, in addition to required FICA and para costs. Vote taken, motion passed. A motion made by Overland, second by Bacteria to consult with Mike Curry to be sure all items have been covered. Vote taken, motion passed. Motion to adjourn made by Bacteria, second by Cronin at 3:17 p.m. Motion passed.
All right, you've heard the minutes. Any corrections or additions? Hearing none, motion be in order to approve those.
So,
Is there a second? I'll second it. All in favor, aye. Overland, aye.
Bacteria,
Cronin, aye.
Then we've got the Township Special Public Hearing for Shoreland Ordinance, May 30th. The meeting was called to order at 6:30 p.m. by Vice Chair Tony Bacteria. Others present, it's been a long day. Others present were Supervisors Cronin, Clerk Walcher, Planning Commission Chair Diana Sandstrom, along with Paul Horgan, Phil White, Vern Anderson, and Scott Beckman. Absent was Al Overland. After Supervisor Bacteria read the rules of the meeting and asked if anyone wanted to make any comments. Mr. Cashman of Sunrise Road asked if there would be a copy of the old ordinance with the changes highlighted so he could see the differences between the old and new copies. There were no other comments. Diana Sandstrom stated there was a 90-day period for comments to be sent to the Board and Planning Commission. Copies are available from the clerk and Diana Sandstrom, and it is also posted on the website for review. The meeting was adjourned at 6:46 p.m.
Very good. You've heard the minutes. Any corrections or additions? Hearing none, all in favor, or motion be in order to approve these minutes as presented.
so moved.
Is there a second? I'll second it. All in favor, aye. Overland, aye.
Bacteria,
Cronin.
I believe that's it.
I have a couple of things to bring up.
Okay.
If I can find it here. Here it is. I've been collecting the mail all month, from the last meeting, and I'm getting a lot of mail for the Lakes Association. Is there anybody here from the Lakes Association?
I'm a member, I can take it to them.
Okay, and then I get irate phone calls from the people saying, well, they're gonna charge me a late fee because they didn't get my check. Well, it's coming to us and it sits in the mailbox until I pick it up.
Is that the membership due like $20?
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's
No,
checks.
There's no late fee.
there's checks and stuff in here, so, and it says on here, on the envelope, Windemere Township, and then underneath it, it says Lakes Association. They need to put it all the way out, because the post office only sees Windemere Township. So I'll give you this, and then the other thing was, I got an email from somebody that wanted to change their address, the same thing, Lakes Association. And I guess that's it.
Very good. Public input?
Treasurer.
Treasurer's.
Oh, treasurer's report. Sorry, Paul.
Sorry that's not on the board, so I'll just try to make sure I clarify what would have been on the board if, on the screening, I should say.
This is the other one.
So I I've printed 4 on a page just to save the paper. And I'm going to go through this report, and then at the end I'm going to add.
Paul, can you miss?
Oh, sorry. Okay, how's that? Good. Okay, thank you. So we're going to go through my report, and then I'm going to add a couple slides, just posting on the website. I'm going to have some comment on that and ask the board for some direction. And then we have a U.S. Bank Master Services Agreement that needs to be signed. And then I'd like to present the claims as part of my report. Okay, so we'll get started. And in addition to the document I just handed you, I put on your stations there the summary balance sheet, which is also included in the other report, and a new report, which is the U.S. Bank holdings, so it's our investment holdings. And when you're looking at that, look at the principal cost, that would be what's on our balance sheet, the $579,000. So I added this, or really subtracted some reports and then added this because I feel like we could give you, 20 pages of reports if you want them, or give you the most succinct reports and then show you what I think should be posted on the website for the purpose of citizen input. And citizens can always email the treasurer, email anybody, ask for information. If it's available, we can pass it on to. But I can't imagine anything would be available that the things that I'm going to suggest we post. Okay, I always start out with a little quip of some kind. So I put on your first slide there an advisory from Warren Buffett. He says, "My successor will need one other particular strength: the ability to fight off the ABCs of organizational decay, which is arrogance, bureaucracy, and complacency." I hope we all commit to do that. The key issues that I want to discuss briefly and report on: reviewing the month-end financial results, updating the cash forecast for 24 and 25, suggest continual updates on the planned projects for 24 and 25 so I can indicate the impact on the cash balances and budget. The required 25 levy, comment on that. The treasurer's role, comments on efficiency, the necessity of audit, and the future of the treasurer position. And then, as I said, I'm going to talk about the website. Okay, so May revenue interest was $980. Zoning permits were $3,821. I'll skip the pennies if everyone doesn't mind. And then the rent collection of $1,000 for the shop. And uncategorized there is listed with an asterisk, the $2,532.97. That was a glitch in the QuickBooks system. And it is an error that couldn't be corrected immediately, but it will be corrected in June. So what I'm telling you is because of that glitch, the income is overstated by $2,532. So excuse that, and you'll get it corrected next month. So then I listed the total, even though it's erroneous. And then next slide is the revenue and expenses so I said the revenue which is overstated, and then I'll review the supervisory. That's your expenses, that's overhead. And then the clerk and operations, $4,664. This is just a bit of, again, just the way accounting works with townships. They put everything under clerk, $41,400, and then operations gets dumped into it. So, Cindy's expenses, whether it's her salary or costs, whatever they are, probably $700 or $800 or less, and the rest of it is operations. That would be everything else it takes to run the township, including copying paper and copies and all that stuff. And then legal services this month were $5,463. $5,000 of that was a zoning related issue. And then the planning and zoning department costs totaled $5,304. Public works and roads, $98,944. And then I listed under $43,000 the Sturgeon Island Bridge cover and other minor expenses. So I'll explain that. My form, which I have a certain amount of time and ability to adjust my forms and reformat and all that, so I'm just going to read it out. The amount listed there is $79,171. How much of that is minor expenses? $550. So almost all of it. And you can do the math if you'd like to. Just take $550 off the $79,171, and that's what we expensed last month. That's the expense that you approved and signed off on. So the difference is minus $189,169. Now, moving on to the account balances, I've listed there just, a simplified version of what you usually get. Ron said for time immemorial, I think something like 7 years, he'd explain, we do fund accounting. And fund accounting is just a funny little accounting trick that lists revenue, roads and bridges, and where the funds come from for expenses, and the other one is capital. But what matters to you is, where's the money? First, Moose Lake, $219,801. Our transfer account, $961. US Bank Commercial, which is a funding account, $427. And then $579,000 in the banker's acceptances, which is in your folder showing the list. So moving on, and you can stop me anytime and ask questions, members of the board. The money forecast and unofficial estimate. I think this is an important service that the treasurer should provide, although as I added to this slide, it's an unofficial estimate because I neither have the authority nor do I have the knowledge to completely read your minds on the future spending for the next 2 years. And we say biennium, and those of you that of course follow the news, you always hear about the state's biennium, and there's a reason for that. We know what our income is going to be this year and next year because it's already been approved by the levy. So I'm going to say there's a list there just estimating, we got about 800,000 cash on hand now. The approved levy for 2024, if you add in all the state aid and the gas and all that, I talked to Ron about estimating this a little bit with his experience, and we'll just say $475,000. I did get email today from the county. Our levy will be paid tomorrow into our account, so it'll come in our June report. It's $231,000 and some odd dollars. So we're going to estimate $475,000 this year. And 2025, the levy that's already approved and the state aid and all that, probably another $475,000. So the cash that we're going to have between now and the future incomes there, $1,750,000. If you set a reserve fund of $500,000 and said, we can invest that longer term if we can reach out for a good yield curve, you might do that. That's of course your decision, not mine.
Mr. Hogan,
Yeah.
our levy, you said that's going to be approximately $475.
Levy and other income.
Okay, like
Yeah,
tax,
levy is $400,000, but there's
gas tax, and
gas
everything
tax and,
included. Okay, thank you.
these various
because our
things.
levy was $400.
And, sometimes we get delinquent taxes coming in too. So that means that there's $1.25 million, $1.25 million available that we know is a good estimate of expendable funds for operations, payroll, and whatever projects and public services you're going to provide. So that's the story on money forecast. I encourage you to take that apart to the best of your ability and determine how accurate it might be. Planning it, that means planning, the next slide is planning and allocating money. And I listed again this month, same as last month, how much and when are major projects going to come in. And when you forward that to me, I'll have a better estimate of how to schedule the investment maturities and ladder them out either to get a maximum return. Okay, moving on to comments and recommendations, if you'll indulge me for a few minutes on that. As you know, members of the board and officials, and perhaps some of the citizens don't know, I am a volunteer board. I'm just doing this work on a temporary basis. Started with this, my third report, so it was March 22nd, so coming up on 3 months, but I've done, this is the third report. I very much hoped and estimated that I might be ready to announce that there's a new treasurer available to be appointed by you. And I've worked hard on that, and you've worked. And whatever suggestions have been forwarded to me, either I've said go ahead and contact them, see if they're interested, and I'll meet with them and explain the job. And I've had about 5 citizens interest, and some very qualified. Background is CPA, accounting for a large firm. These are all citizens. And the number one reason they don't want to do the job is they don't like the drama that goes on in this town meeting. I don't want to go there. You know, this is just not the place I want to be. I wish that would change. I wish it would get better and be a more inviting environment. But we need somebody with broad shoulders and someone that would be capable of serving as treasurer. Now, if there's no one else who'll come forward, and I'm asking, that's all I can do, spread the word. It isn't the easiest job in the world. You need a numbers aptitude. You need to be a numbers person, or this would be very confusing. It would be frightening. For me, I find it very tedious. You know, for 35 years as a CEO of a financial institution, I hired people to do this work, and I feel like they're getting back at me now because I'm doing it. And like I say, I find it very tedious. But one of the reasons I've spent so much time on it is I want to improve the reports. I want the board to see not the forest, but see the trees. See what's really going on here. What is necessary expense? What is the best of your expenses in public service? And what could we do better on? So that's my comment on that part. So in terms of the treasurer and the role, we've had the old way, which was 7.5 years ago, where everything was in a shoebox and it was all paper. And I have an example of one of the reports that fits on like one single page. And you had to wait until the end of the year, until 2017-18. You had to wait till the annual meeting to get disclosure of everything, unless you wanted to stand over the shoulder of the board members while they were approving claims. We moved it up a lot in the last 7 years. And the big contribution is everything's electronic. And there's storage that's in the cloud. You know, we can call up reports. Tedious, but it can be done. And the future is, I hope, the improvements that we've landed already, which we have a bookkeeper, so we don't have to attract a treasurer that wants to do 15, 20 hours a month balancing books and entering the transactions. You know, we have that person down in Sandstone area, and she's a clerk and a treasurer. She's been a clerk and a treasurer, currently a clerk, and does accounting for several different companies, and so that's a good way to do it. So my hope is that I will be able to appoint in the next 30 days a deputy treasurer that would be willing to do most all of this work. And then you can attract a treasurer that I hope would run for office and be the treasurer, but if we have a deputy that's able to do most of the work, then it should be very, very easy for you to attract someone. So that's what we can talk about in the coming days and weeks, and certainly next month. So the impediments to efficiency that we're still working on, the need for a new division of labor. It's complicated to have both a clerk and a treasurer. And we have both a clerk and a treasurer, time immemorial, because apparently, and I'm not sure about, maybe Heidi and Tony, Al, you can speak to this. It's a nice thing to have, because then we don't have to have an audit. And I think that's one of the biggest myths that you can possibly invent, because a township of this size and sophistication should be audited. Now, you know that we were audited at the request of the board. Ron brought it up, and it was, you hired an auditor, and we had an outside audit about 6 years ago. And we could start by digging that document up and taking a look at it. Put somebody in charge of it, one of the board members or all the board members, and say, what there were we encouraged to improve in terms of our operations, control systems and so forth, and what have we done anything with? And then plan on future audits. And you can figure out as a board, what do we really want to have audited? You don't have to have a complete audit. You have to have a financial audit if you have a single treasurer and a clerk treasurer position. But that means you don't have to have a full audit, you can just have a financial audit, even if you have a clerk and a treasurer. So I hope that makes sense. And of course, confirming safe records should be, it should be clear who's got what and where it is and so forth. Okay, so there we have it. Posting on the website. I'm suggesting that a post on the website, and this is, sort of absurd. What should we post on the website? I think this summary financial statement, the statement of our investments, shows our liquidity and so forth. And the last item is, if you take this seriously, the financial activity, if you keep these in a notebook, there's only 3 pages, it's large print, there's not that much in terms of document or numbers on the page, but this explains where every penny went. Of course, 2 things about it. One, you approved it. You approved it and you signed the claims. And of course, now you're signing a 1-page manifest on the claims. So when somebody asks, well, where are you spending the money? Where is this? You don't have to look over the shoulder of the people signing all this stuff or get 25, 30 pages of documents and then find the number that shows what the check amount was. It's all on 1 page. And I learned about this in training. That's why we go to training and spend money on it. So I'll be presenting that. But back to this now, financial activity. You're not going to have a lot of questions if you take a look at this document. And citizens, I think, aren't going to have a lot of questions either. They won't call up, what about this or what about that? If we get this posted, and I apologize for the not matching up with Ron's schedule and getting documents over to him, but we've got this down to a science now. The Friday after the meeting, like tomorrow, I'm going to get the documents to him, if you're approving what I just said, along with, it seems to me, you should put the claims, 1-page claims, put them on the system. But it's up to you. That's 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I need at this point to say, what say you?
All right, we have a proposal by the treasurers to post all of these. It sounds like a fine plan to me. I would make a motion that we would go ahead and do that. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion?
Yeah, I think that for the years that Ron was the actual first elected and then appointed treasurer, I found it very helpful. He had a few different spreadsheets in addition to the claims and the 1-month accrual basis form. He actually showed quarterly what we spent based on the budget that we had. That showed what we were spending, were we ahead of our spending, what we were planning on, we were behind, were we okay, we're in the red, we're in the black. All of the board members got a printout of the claims, which is completely very invaluable to me for sure. And then the year-to-date financial activity. So all of this was posted. There was typically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things posted every month. And I asked him a couple times, is that easy for you to do? And he says, well, on QuickBooks, yeah, once you have all the data entered in QuickBooks, that it's able to fill out or post these different reports. I find them invaluable, and I think they're clear, especially for me as a board member, that I can look through, what did we spend, are we ahead again, are we behind? The claim sheets I want to see, instead of it just, each month handed out to me, but also posted, so I'm glad that at least will be on there. But because it's all electronic, it's important to me, instead of getting a copy, that I'm able to actually, and I specifically requested a couple of documents from you. I guess I'm surprised I got them in like this, but I will clarify. I guess I want electronic copies of the specific expenditures, because I want to keep up on specific claims, in particular the road claims, because a lot of the work that is done in the township, I find out, by invoice versus prior to the work actually commencing and who's doing what. So those are important to me, just to keep up on things, because I know that my ultimate job on this board is a fiduciary one, to make sure that we're spending Windemere Township funds appropriately. And I need to find a way to keep up better than always after the fact. So I would like to amend the motion to have the reports that Mr. Mossberg was able to do, he said easily, the claims, financial activities, balance sheets, budget summaries, year-to-date financial activities, all posted like he had been for years, and not change it. I think it's important, especially when I go back, and I've been asking for that for a while, and it's irrelevant if anyone else does. I don't have to prove, well, I had 50 people requesting it. As a board member, it's important to me, because I'm the one that's in part charge of making sure that things are spent correctly.
Well, okay, good. If you make sure you give that list to the recorder, I'll get it,
Mhm.
and I will, there's no problem with that.
It's actually, no, I don't even need to give it to the recorder, Mr. Morgan, it's actually on the website, all of the different claims, so you can actually just go and see it posted. We have the first 3 months posted with all those activities already.
Well, since you have a motion, I suppose the recorder's gonna have it anyway.
Right.
So, I don't do much with that website. To me, it really needs a lot of improvement, so sorry about that. But okay, no, I think the great thing about this township, for all that being said, Heidi, thank you. I listened to you, and that's great. But the board approves every expense. You know, if you didn't get anything else, your fiduciary, you're welcome to it all, and you should have it all, and you can have anything you want, absolutely. As far as it being easy, Ron had 5 jobs, and he did them all, and they were easy. You know, I have about half of one. I don't even find it as easy.
But Mr. Logan, we hired somebody to do that work. You're not even doing that. We're paying somebody separately to do that.
No, you're mixing apples and oranges, but let's not argue about that here.
Oh, okay.
We can talk about it afterwards if you want. But in the interest of time, you can have any reports that you want. It's just fine, it's no
Perfect.
problem.
Yeah.
But just keep in mind, for the sake of the citizens listening too, I want people to know the treasurer has no authority to make any expense whatsoever.
Correct.
And all I can do is deposit the money and pay the expenses that are presented and authenticated by the clerk. The one thing the clerk has to do in addition to keeping a set of books, making sure we're right on, she has to authenticate the claims. If something comes up that looks bogus, the clerk's responsible to figure it out. And
Yep.
so that's
All right.
Okay,
Very
I'm
good.
gonna pass out this,
We had a vote on this,
Oh,
Paul,
sorry.
so
Yeah.
all in favor, aye. Overland, aye.
So I made an amended motion. Is that not going to, are we not going to amend the motion to claim, to put
Okay. What
the, my amended motion?
was the original motion?
Your original motion was to go ahead and approve the 3 pages of proposals that
Okay.
Paul put in.
Well, I thought it was actually
then there's
4,
four
but
actually.
you're
There's
saying
4.
how many, Heidi? 6?
I'm making a motion that we post every month the claims, financial activities, balance sheets, budget summary, and year-to-date financial activities.
So, Paul, you didn't mention the budget summary, was that one you didn't mention?
Correct.
And a year.
and
and
my
a
comment to you
year.
guys, just let me know what reports you'd like to have as soon as they're available, and hopefully we'll get this down to a science soon.
Sure.
But, and your new treasurer will do fine too, whoever that is. But whatever you want, preferably electronically, and hopefully in the future before the meeting, so you can print out your own reports if you want to, or if you don't need them, pay on paper, fine. Then I don't have to print them out either, because it does take a little time to get see.
It does.
Yeah.
And if we can
All right.
refer them to electronically and you have your computer here, that's fine. I just need to have access to them, and prior would be better. Otherwise, if they're not going to be posted prior, I will need a paper copy
Yeah.
during the meeting.
Okay, you know, just a quick comment.
All right,
Because I have-
we'll wrap this up,
Okay,
sorry.
good.
So, okay, so there's an amended motion. Tony, did you second?
No.
The original motion?
Yes, he did.
All right. So would you second to the amended?
No, I'm against it, yeah.
Okay. I don't have a problem with it. I'll second it. So, all in favor, aye. Overland, aye.
Bakhtiari, nay.
Coney, aye.
All right. Paul, go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say, the system that we had, you know, for your better understanding, all of you, and there's no argument about, I do have a bookkeeper, it's wonderful, it's great, and it's $450,000 expense. My expense is zero, I'm a volunteer, but I'm not shorting you on whatever work needs to be done. But it was a job to figure out this division of labor. So the total hours that Ron would spend after 7 years on this job, way less than the job I have to do and the bookkeeper has to do. You know, there was a learning curve on that. So, but we're just about there, and I think we're gonna have a really good setup. And if the day comes when you have a treasurer that wants to do everything Ron did and whatever that is, you know.
Listen, hold
Glory
on, don't
be.
cut yourself short. This is a very difficult job.
Yeah.
Ron made it so easy for years, and now all of a sudden our expectations are over here. And for a volunteer person that, you know, you're spending so many hours and days on this, we should be thankful instead of criticizing you. Thank you.
You don't have to thank me, but I must say, having someone for 7 years made a very big difference. I hope that happens again, for your sake. Okay, that's good.
Very good. All right, so you have the treasurer's report. Do we have a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second it. All in favor, aye. Overland, aye.
Bakhtiari, aye.
Coney, aye.
All right. Now we can move into public input. Do we have the list there? Pardon? All right, Jude.
Can you hear me? Oh, I guess you can. I just find it interesting that you didn't want to spend $4,000 to take the mold out of the old building, but between the rented offices and Camp Miller, you've already spent over $5,000. Also I want to say, putting the assistant road supervisor on a salary at $1,200 a month is 3 times as much as you were paying Scott Danilski, who you questioned was working too many hours at 20 hours a month. And I think you could utilize the shop building in the future. It has a bathroom, and you could do a little bit of renovation there and use that, if that's just a suggestion. I think the Lakes Association should get their own P.O. box. We don't pay the clerk to take care of paperwork for the Lakes Association. That's unacceptable.
They do have their
They
own
do.
mailbox, but it's the way the envelope is.
Okay, well, they need to correct that, because that's not your job. And as an insurance agent, I want to just make sure that you've added this location and the new one to your insurance policy for liability issues. Just make sure you do that, in case somebody trips and falls or whatever. And also, make sure you add all the new employees to your work comp policy, and that's it.
Thank you. Kip, Bradford?
Yes, hello, I'm Kip Ryberg & Sons, and I guess I first want to apologize that I spoke out of order at your last regular meeting, because I shouldn't have done that, but Ryberg & Sons, we've been in business for 75 years in the gravel crushing and hauling and excavation work. And my father was in the business. We've been doing work here in the township since the 60s. And I'm just worried. I sent a couple quotes out a month ago. One for equipment rental quotes and one for gravel hauling. and I seem to be off the list. And I don't know if everybody's seen the quotes, or it seems like I've been ignored with that, I guess. And I don't know, did all the board members see them or not? I could give these out here. This is
Mr.
one
Ryder,
I
who did you
sent
send
out.
them to? Who did you send them to? Do you remember?
What's that?
Yeah,
Who did you send them to?
They were, the quotes were mailed and we emailed these.
yeah, I remember seeing.
Roads that, yeah. Well, I'm just wondering, and I don't know if you have to even ask questions with public input, but why we haven't been given an opportunity to do some of this work.
All right. We can address that later in the meeting.
Well, that's fine.
Sure. All right.
And I know you did some work in the recent past, or just a little while ago, the work that I'm talking about.
Mhm.
And I got the prices that you paid for the gravel, and I got the prices for the hauling. I didn't get the prices for the loading or the leveling of the gravel. But just with the hauling of the gravel and the purchase of the gravel, without the loading or the leveling or compacting, you had $20.80 a yard into it. And our price, with everything, the gravel, the hauling, the leveling, the compacting, everything was $17 and whatever, $17.47. So even without the leveling and the loading, we're already almost $3 cheaper. So I'm estimating that you'd have $5 to $6 a yard more in it than what I gave you a price of. And even at a small amount of 1,000 yards, that's $6,000. And I know when we used to work for you guys, you'd haul 4,000 or 5,000 yards, so there's, could be $30,000 difference in price. And I question that, why is that so?
All right, thank you.
No, I'm not done yet.
Oh, okay.
You have an interesting
Yeah.
treasurer's report, I don't know if mine is.
Yeah, I know, but we limit it to 3 minutes, and
Well-
your 3 minutes is up.
You won't give me any more time.
All right, I'll give you 1 more minute, just,
Oh my gosh, come on, guys. I'm just trying to help you guys out.
yes, no, thank you, appreciate that, and we will address this.
And I'm just wondering if I could buy sand at the pit down there.
We're gonna address that too.
Well, I guess if I only got a minute, I really, and I'll just put this out in my minute. There's some legal ramifications from what you guys are doing. I've never, ever sued or had a suit with the township, and I've been in business for 50 years. But the stuff that we've done for you in the past, and the quotes that we've given you, and you're not using the best, getting the best price for the materials and stuff, that there is a lawsuit there.
All right, thank you very much. All right, and we're gonna just go. Ron, usual.
Better talk fast.
I'll just call him up after. Okay, treasurer's report, the visuals I really missed. Is there any way that we can get visuals and get a thing of how we did last year versus this year? I love those comparisons. Mossberg went overboard a lot of times, but I sure loved those comparisons to see where we were last year. And is there any way to put them up on the board if we have a board, or is that against the law?
No.
No, we can do that. Sorry, that was my
Okay.
fault because I didn't talk to.
Beautiful, that'd be great. Zoom, why was Zoom stopped? Was it too expensive, too hard, too what?
We'll address it, go ahead.
Okay, I guess the thing that I look at is that Zoom was a valuable thing, and I don't know how many people were doing it, but I know Cade does it. And a lot of people appreciate that. And there are like 15 people in here tonight personally. Last month on the website that Cade did, Guess how many people were on that? Just guess wildly. Al, how many?
Couple hundred.
Nope, less than that. But 49 people were on that. You've never had 49 people on yours when you did a Zoom thing. I think you're missing an awful lot of people. I've had a couple of people who have said, we live in the cities, we sure would like to see it. We can't get there because we're old. And that Zoom was a very valuable thing, and I think I don't know, it just seems like you're trying to give the people less and less information every time that you have a meeting, you take it away from them. And I have the names of the 49 people, if you think I'm BSing. I got the names of the 49 people here.
I don't doubt you. No, I hear from people who appreciate watching it after, and we do, as far as I know, the audio did get posted, is that correct?
I don't know.
No, it
Oh,
hasn't.
okay.
I don't know.
I thought that was the case.
It should
No,
have
it
been.
hasn't been posted.
Yeah, okay, so, and it's a service to the people. If it's too
Absolutely.
costly, we should cut it, but, the way you guys
No.
spend money, I don't think it's a problem, so we're not gonna worry.
The cost was not the reason.
Okay. Vern, you can't write down your work schedule for 25 bucks an hour, so you get a raise to 1,200. And I just think that's unbelievable that you're rewarded for not being able to do your job. 1,200, I don't know if you can manage.
Ron, direct your comments to the board, not to the employees.
All right,
Thank
all
you.
right. If you're going to do, and I know you and Tony say that you guys ride around a lot, take a look on the road by North Partridge. It's washed out on both sides. And if that were over on Al's road, I think it would have been taken care of 2 weeks ago when we had all that rain. And it's very hazardous when you're riding or when you're driving around there. The last thing.
Last thing, Ron, you're talking about.
Yep, that's the last, will be the last thing.
Okay.
Because an old person once told me a long time ago, if a person calls you a horse, you can ignore it. If 2 people call you a horse, blow it off. If 3 people call you a horse, buy a saddle. I think you people must look at some of these things. You're getting a lot of people with the same complaints, but you're not taking any action or anything like that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, we will move on to old business.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Got a letter from the architect. Her name is Melissa Graftas, and I won't read the whole thing, I just read, what's important. She came up with the pre-design process. Pre-design process is a critical phase in the architectural project that involves gathering information, analyzing needs, and setting the foundation for the future design phase. It ensures that all the stakeholders' requirements are understood and integrated into the project plan and provides you with a framework to build up as you determine the best approach for the township. The primary component assessed during pre-design includes the following: stakeholder engagement, including community consultation and engagement, site analysis, zoning and regulations, space planning, functional and user needs analysis, concept development, budget analysis, proposed over project schedule. All of these information will be compiled into a final pre-designed booklet describing both the process and the outcomes. There will be a schematic floor plan and basic building rendering provided as a part of this for use in sharing the project progress and findings. And goes on. And the fee proposal, basic service, to provide the above noted service, we propose to work on a lump sum fee base plus direct reimbursement expenses, including printing and shipping if needed. We bill monthly based on progress at the end of the month. Pre-design is $9,800. And she says, note, based on the hours we have estimated to complete the work, we will be exceeding the fee note above. However, as a seasonal resident of Windemere Township, I'm willing to donate some of my time to see this through.
All right, thank you. So this is just, Tony had a contact with a architect in just early discussions, if in fact we move in that direction. Last month, we talked about a steering committee to talk about the new town hall or whatever direction we would go. It was decided that we would come up with, each of us would come up with 2 members for this steering committee. Tony or Heidi, who are your 2 people?
Who asking me or?
Heidi.
No, go ahead, Tony.
I have Tara Proctor and Vern Anderson.
How about you, Mr. Overland?
I have Mark Disterhout and Rob Peterson.
I have Scott Danowski, and I have Tim Floor.
Tim Flory, I'm not gonna allow that. He's, every meeting that's been here, he's been disturbing and he's, he doesn't have a control of his language, so you need to pick somebody else.
Nope, those are my 2.
Well, he's not gonna be on the committee then.
I don't think that's your decision, Mr.
It is my
Proctor.
decision because I'm gonna be chairing that, so.
That's just not how it works.
We're not gonna play game. This is important and I want people that they have, input, so.
My choices are Scott Danowski and Tim Floor.
Scott Danowski is fine, but Tim Floor is not gonna be on the plan. I'm just telling you right now.
We made a decision and the vote was last meeting
I think
that
we
each
have
one
to
of
go
us,
that way. Yeah,
that each one of us could pick 2.
all right.
You don't have you can't overrule the 2 I picked. So the 2 I picked are Tim Floor and Scott Danowski, and that was the
All right,
choice that
very
was
good.
given.
We
Thank
will
you.
trust that people will conduct themselves appropriately at these meetings. So, thank you, and,
I'm just saying that the first time, he started disrupting, he's out.
Again, it's not your decision,
It
Mr.
is my
Proctor.
decision because this is not a game that, we're gonna play.
No,
This-
it's
this is-
not.
This is gonna be serious and, and we need qualified people with the good insight.
Yep, he has both.
Right?
all right. Next, under old business was the road vacation. We had it scheduled for 8:30 tonight. However, Mr. Curry lost the email that we first sent out, getting direction on how to proceed with this. Finally caught up with him, and he apologized profusely for this. We were given it now. I have talked with the Hadines. They are not in any particular rush, but their petition that they gave was not complete as it was needed anyway. They will have to refile. So that, just to address that, which was in the minutes concerning that. All right. Anything else under old business? If not, we will move on to discussion with Township Coordinator. I'd like to introduce Brittany, if you want to come on up, Brittany. We had, as you heard the minutes, had interviews. Brittany was chosen. However, we still need to finalize some things with her employment here, and she is bringing some proposals here tonight that we need to consider as a board.
Can you
So-
say your last name, please?
Stampahar.
Thank you. You said it perfectly.
Brittany, forgive me, I'm gonna take 2 seconds. You can go ahead and introduce yourself. I'm gonna use the washroom real quick.
Okay. Just start with what
Yeah,
I would like to propose.
No, just go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Well, I
Closer to the
am,
microphone.
how's this?
Perfect.
Hi everyone, I'm Brittany Stampahar. I'm just going to give you my resume real quickly. I have 14 years of government experience. I have oversaw a staff of 90 people. I have worked on budgets of over 60 million, and I have my master's degree in business, my bachelor's degree in political science. I spent most of my life, 19 years, in Alaska. Moved here with my husband. He's from the Hibbing-Chisholm area. We currently reside in Duluth, but are actively looking for a home in this area, especially since I was blessed to have this opportunity. And that's me in a nutshell.
All right. Well, fortunately, we don't have Heidi with us right at the moment, so you know, I'm gonna have you sit down for a second. We're gonna go ahead to the proposed policy update by the treasurer. Paul, you want to give us that? Sorry about that.
Thanks, Brittany.
Well, I sent out to all concerned a proposed update to kind of catch us up with modern policy on mail processing and the direction of claims and payroll and the whole process of how that should work. So you've all read it. I think it brings us up to date. I think it relieves the clerk of some of the duties that aren't statutory. The clerk has to get the claims, but most of the work related to bookkeeping and claims processing is with the treasurer. So I'm proposing in that policy that claims be sent to the treasurer, which will be promptly copied and the original sent to the clerk for authentication.
Why don't I just take a second to read
Yeah.
this, if that's okay?
Oh, you want? Sure.
Okay, the purpose of this policy is to assure efficient and timely handling of township mail, processing of payments to officials, employees, vendors, retention of important documents, and separation of duties. All payroll claims by officials, number one, that is, all payroll claims by officials and employees will be sent directly to the township treasurer no later than the last day of the month. The treasurer will log in the claims and forward the original documents to the clerk for authentication and retention. Copies of the documents will be retained in the township office files. Number two, all vendor claims will be filed with the treasurer no later than the first day of the month. The treasurer will log in the claims, create the required annotated manifest of payroll and vendor claims for board approval, and forward the original documents to the clerk for audit, authentication, and retention. Copies of the documents will be retained in the township office files. Number three, the supervisors will process claims. At the regular monthly meeting, the treasurer or deputy treasurer will mail approved payments to payees without delay. Elected officials and employees will be paid by electronic direct deposit. A permanent record of payments made and or refused will be retained by the clerk. Copies of the documentation will be retained in the township office files. Number four, the clerk will be given all documentation of financial transactions, claims, and other official correspondence and records for filing. A copy of the official documents will be retained in the township office in a fire-rated file. All books and financial records are stored in the cloud, and therefore no other scanning or storage of documents will be needed. The official mail to the township will be received at the designated post office at the U.S. Post Office, Moose Lake, Minnesota. The mail will be picked up by the township coordinator and her, in this case, designated official. Each piece of mail will be logged in the township official township electronic mail log available for review by the clerk, treasurer, and supervisors. A permanent mail log will be stored electronically. Legal documents will be scanned and retained. The official records will be retained for 7 years, 1 copy with the clerk, 1 copy in the township office. The treasurer will also retain in electronic format all books and financial records. The township office files will be kept in fire-rated containers. And that is the policy, document retention policy presented. Comments?
I feel comfortable with every single one.
Pardon?
I feel comfortable with every single one of them, I think. It's, you know,
I have to
overdue.
say, I do not agree with any of this. The elections are gonna be in November. There will be a new clerk and a new treasurer January 1st. Why are we changing this so drastically when there's gonna be new people in the office in January and they can make up their own routine? This does not work for me. I do not agree with it.
What part of it doesn't work?
None of it. There's nothing wrong with the old system.
And maybe I should articulate what's the differences so people understand.
Well, he wants the payroll at the end of the month. Well, people are getting their payroll done. It takes a few days. The claims, he wants by the 1st. The claims come in the mail, they come in over, I mean, I get claims from Vern 4 or 5 days into the month where he says, oh, I got this from so-and-so and here's a claim. So I feel the way that we've been doing it, and again, it's only for 6 more months until the new people come in and make their own decisions.
Well, deferring stuff that we've been doing for so many years, we have to start somewhere. I
Well,
mean, how many days does it take you to get the information, and how many days do you give Mr. Horkin to do all the accounting? All the accounting takes, you know, he should have twice as much time as you do.
First of all, also, we need to, we should set us all a date.
Well, and we can set a date. I mean, we can say the 5th of the month or something, that this 1st of the month just does not seem to, it just doesn't work.
So if we have the 5th of the month and a meeting on the 8th, how does that happen?
Yeah.
Well, then it would have to be before that.
Yeah, it would, and that's.
So on or before the 5th of the month.
Well,
Humans are creature of habit. If you tell them that, you know, you gotta get your claim in, you know, before the end of the month, or
Yeah.
you're not gonna get paid for around the month, believe me, that payment is gonna be in.
yeah.
And same thing with the payroll. You know, we can do it all electronically. We don't have to, you know, just deliver it by mail or, and we all, you know, I mean, we hardly have a meeting that is at the end of, you know, it does happen at the end of the month, usually by, you know, just 3rd week of the month, we're, you know, done with, you know, our claims. So I think it's doable. It just takes a little, you know, I know change is hard, but we have to move forward. This is 21st century. We can't.
So
just
what
keep
if the
doing-
new people come in that are elected and they decide they want to go back to the old way?
The board decides what.
We have a
you know,
policy.
And, well, the board doesn't do the work. And I have to disagree with Mr. Horgan as far as how much time it takes to do payroll and to do invoicing and pay the bills. I have done payroll, I have done accounts payable for many, 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 many years in QuickBooks, and it doesn't take that long. And especially if he's got a CPA that's doing it for him. So I do not agree at all.
Is there any other part of the policy that you disagree with as far as how the,
Well,
who picks up the mail, who gets the
The
claims
picking- yeah.
first, all that other, because I know that.
The picking up of the mail, I mean, that seems a little, you know, you're changing mailbox, you're changing addresses on everything, letting people know, you know, change of address. Again, it's 6 months until the new people come in to decide what they're gonna do. Plus, he's got, the other part of it is with the scanning. Now, he's got QuickBooks, he's got the history of every single thing that's ever been entered. I have a pile of claims. Somebody asked me a question, you know, were we paid on this, blah, blah, blah. I have to go flipping through the claims, or I have to ask him for a vendor history, which I've asked for and I haven't gotten any yet. Because he's got all the vendor history on all these different claims. So,
What do you mean by vendor history? If you have the claims, you have the
I
claims.
have the claims, okay, I've got a pile of claims here.
Right.
I've got this month, I've got that month, I've got the month before that, you know, all the different months.
Okay.
Somebody says, did we get paid or when did we get paid? Well, I have to go through each month and find out. I flip through all this paperwork. Where
Whereas
he
you're
can go
saying,
on to the computer and he can pop up that vendor and he say, oh, well, here, you got paid. This is the date, here's the check number, the whole works. I don't have that.
right,
And on a different note, I'm trying to get to the point where I can get CTAS up and running, and I'm hoping and praying that the new treasurer will do CTAS so that there's no conflict of what's going on. There's apples and apples.
Well, I can make a couple comments if you want.
Sure, please.
Number one, well, first of all, sorry, I expected you to be all in favor of this because there's less work for you, and you work too many hours already, but that's maybe a subject for you to think about. I've been working, for the most part, in the training process and the meetings I've gone to, on a going forward basis, having the records that I've designed for the reports from zoning, the receipts from zoning, the checks from zoning, and the claims that are going to be paid. So I'm talking the income side and the expense side. Going forward is where I've spent my time. I haven't spent much time in the history, but once this meeting is over, I will answer whatever questions people have between the time of the meeting and the end of the month. That's we don't have to do any, I just have to do deposits and so forth. But like for instance, this month we had the 13th, great. We don't meet till the 13th. The clerk has the documents. I get, by the 9th of the month, I have all the documents, which means the new treasurer, or me, hopefully not me, but the new treasurer that we're trying to attract, if you don't have to make them work on Saturday and Sunday, which is reasonable, they've got Monday or Tuesday to do the work and copy all these documents and post the documents, and we can communicate with the bookkeeper all electronically. I don't have to go, to Sandstone, don't have to go back, so we can do everything electronically. That's not a problem. But 15 to 20 hours of work is what it is. And if anyone questions that, just come and sit down with me in my office and I will show you. And when I get excuse me 1 second here. You will get a tutorial on everything the treasurer and the bookkeeper has to do in this 15-tab book. I'll go through that with you, show you the reports, and show you what to do. I believe the best way to proceed is as I outlined in this policy. Get the payroll. All we have for payroll is, 6 or 8 people? You know what you're going to get paid. You're either on salary or you have hours. Get it in, and by midnight on the 1st of the month. Send it to the clerk as well, if you want to. It doesn't matter. You got 2 people to send it to. And getting the claims in will allow us to, even if we have a meeting on the 8th or 9th or 10th, we'll get the work done. And it'll be done without working Saturdays and Sundays.
How many days does it take to deposit or transfer the money for the payroll?
Well, we have to fund the account on Tuesday, so you get paid on Thursday. So there's funding there. Just the investment part of it will make most heads spin. You have a treasurer taking care of $800,000 of your money now. Tomorrow it'll be $1 million of your money. You control all of the disbursements. I have no control over that. You're not worried about any money disappearing. You audit that every month. But it's work. You want to see how it's done? Come and sit with me.
Well, the investment part has nothing to do with the claims.
Well,
That's something you do besides.
I didn't say
It's got
it.
nothing to do
I
with
didn't
the
say
claims, so
that.
that, if that takes you more time, it
No.
doesn't,
He asked a question about it, so I answered.
All right.
It's part of the deal. But as I said, I'm just here temporarily, but I'm trying to get it set up. I'm recommending a policy that will allow us fairness, reasonableness, good throughput with all the activities, if you as a board members can live with the 1st of the month. Just tell again, this is not a big company, big organization. We have 21 checks tonight on this list. That's it. Just tell your vendors, we process on the 1st of the month. If it's the 2nd, okay, but we process. And they get paid on the second Thursday. And there's no delay. We'll leave wherever the meeting is and put the stuff in the envelope and put it in the post office.
I don't disagree that you need to have, just like working for the state or whoever, I gotta have my time sheet in by a certain time. It's not that I'm not necessarily gonna be paid, but I might get a delayed payment if I don't get it in time. I disagree with you saying, I don't think things have been unfair. I don't think that things have been untransparent in the way things, what you said, to make things fair, to make things what, I don't think they have been. I just think that you're proposing a different way, and I think that we need to be very respectful of the clerk, because she's half of this policy. She's half of the job here, and both of your duties are in statute, what you're required to do. So I just think we need to really take into consideration and weight the clerk's disagreements.
Well, I don't know how you can suggest that it's easy
I didn't
to call it
suggest.
fair. Well, you rather easily said it's fair. It's not, you know, if we can, first of all, Cindy didn't sit on claims for 9 days. She has her own policy. I don't know if it's your policy or her policy, and she can have a policy unless you direct her otherwise. Get the claims in to the clerk, so the clerk can give them to the treasurer. The treasurer can do this manifest. And when I get this, if you want to sit down someday with me, go ahead, sit down. Clerk can sit down with me too, and take a look at an invoice. And then you go and figure out from all of the expense accounts that you have in the budget, figure out which one it goes to. Which deposit account the money is going to come from. 100, 241, or 300. Where is that money? You know, I swear, I don't think we have anyone other than Ron that has actually done township accounting. It is complicated. And
Well,
don't
let
even-
me
and
back
me
up,
say this.
let me back up again. When Mr. Mossberg was elected, he came up with his own system that worked for him. It wasn't dictated, delineated, or delegated to him how to come up with it. He came up with the numbers, the allocations, the categories, and we've been back and forth on that on email. He came up with those all in those because, you know, it worked for him. We didn't direct that, we didn't decide on that, we certainly didn't vote on it. He came up with these categories on how to do it, it made sense to him, it worked for him, he created all of it. And he got paid to do that, which is fine. We worked with it. It was a lot. It was a lot of categories. It was arduous. It was sometimes hard to read. It was sometimes hard to pick through to try to find the specific information that you wanted. But that was his system. We didn't vote on that. That wasn't a board thing. I vote on what money we're spending. I didn't vote on the categories at all. So that system was his. We don't need to have that system. We can go with the system that the state has, which is what Cindy was asking, CTAS. We don't have to do QuickBooks. We don't have to do his categories. We don't have to allocate it all the different things like his 15-page 3-ring binder. That is what he did, which worked for him. Doesn't have to be that way.
I think you better have a discussion. Maybe you better have a working meeting on this, because I can't agree with anything you've said. You cannot approve a budget without expense accounts. And the
It doesn't have to be as detailed as he meant, and I did have discussions with Mr. Fensky as well as when I was actually able to, Kevin Hofstad when he was our attorney, as well as Mr. Curry when I was actually able to talk to him. Do we need to have these specific categories laid out this way? Is this a requirement? And it's not. It's not a requirement to have it categorized the way that Mr. Mossberg did. It's right to be accountable, it's right to be able to track money, but how he did it is not required.
What we're discussing may have a distinction, but it's no different. You have to have expense categories of
It doesn't
some
have to
kind.
be as many as Mr. Mossberg's or a 50 or 100-page 3-ring binder,
Well,
Mr.
you approved
Morgan.
it, you know.
I didn't approve how he
Okay.
categorized it. I
Board
told you that a
members,
million
Board
times.
members.
We didn't approve
please-
the categories.
Okay, I'm just gonna ask the board, please don't allow the board to say to me, in agreement, 2-1 or 3-0, I don't care, whatever it is, that this is too complicated, or that CTAS is less complicated than QuickBooks. Now, if you ask for an expert's opinion on the difference between QuickBooks and CTAS, you're gonna get one.
Sure.
And it isn't gonna be what you want, perhaps, but you're gonna get it, and they're gonna say, if you wanna ask for these vendor reports and so forth, the reporting system of QuickBooks is vastly better than CTAS. And so.
Again, that's an opinion, and we'll have to see why the statement, the statement one way as far as requiring or asking townships to follow C-Task versus going to QuickBooks.
There's reports and C-tasks, you just have to know how to use it.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. It's-
Anyhow,
it's-
enough
it's
debate.
distinctive,
This is-
but
we're
not-
talking
Mrs.
about the policy.
Courtney,
Yeah,
you
too much.
were the one that, you just always criticize Mr. Mossberg, just saying that, we don't need all that information,
No, I didn't say that.
Yes, you did. And now, a few minutes ago, all of a sudden, you just said that you like everything that Mr. Mossberg did, you get more information. Now you're just saying that we have too much information. So let's make up our mind just which side we're gonna be.
Yeah, I liked the reports that I put on monthly, and I made that clear. I just think as far as the policy, I think we need to listen to the clerk just as well as far as what she likes about this, because she's half the equation here, so. That's all I have to do
And
with
the
this
other
policy.
half is, is 21st century. That's the
Well-
whole thing, we have to keep up.
Yeah, okay, just to suit the clerk, I suggest that the payrolls be sent at the end of the month. You want to get paid, you want a payroll, for the end of the month is fine. I think you're voicing that opinion. You send them to the clerk, send them to me at the same time, just have to put 2 addresses on the electronic mail, that's fine. I need the claims.
Sure.
I will immediately, I won't wait 5 days. I will immediately copy the claims, keep them, send them to the clerk it doesn't hurt the clerk. All it is less, don't have to communicate with me, I'm the
Put
one.
both, I like the idea of putting both emails on there, great idea. That's a great compromise,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and you set the date for vendor claims.
Yep.
I think the first of the month is reasonable, especially when there could be a meeting on the 8th. You want the reports.
All right.
And as you, yeah. so
And let me ask you, so, and I agree, I guess I don't have a problem, so it's that where the rubber meets the road, so then, let's say you got a vendor, let's say Mr. Anderson or whoever it is, sends a claim in, and it's the 2nd. Are you guys gonna play hardball? Are you gonna be able to do that? Because that's what you're gonna have to do, you're gonna have to say, sorry, we said the 1st, I know for whatever reason, you couldn't get me into, so you're gonna have to wait a month to get paid.
Yep.
So that's what you're gonna have to enforce.
That's your policy. I don't have any problem with it.
I'm not, but you're gonna be the one telling them.
That's not a problem.
Okay,
I mean, that means somebody could send in an invoice. They could do work on the 15th, send an invoice on the 1st,
sure,
and they get paid on the 8th.
right.
How many companies get paid in 8 days?
Right, no, I have no qualms setting a date, I don't.
Good. Thank
What I
you.
like the idea of
having
Thank
it
you very
sent-
much.
What about the credit card that doesn't come until after the 1st of the month, but it's got a due date on it, and if we don't pay it by the due date, we get a penalty?
What we do with the credit card is we go online to FBO Omaha, and we get that information, and we write it up. We don't need paper, we just have it online. They report to us online. We don't need the paper.
So, I mean, what about if they charge us a penalty for?
No,
the
they're gonna
month?
charge us the penalty, because we're gonna have it online.
Okay.
You just look it up.
I like the idea of sending it to both, so it should be sent to both the clerk and the treasurer, and if you set the 1st, I'm okay with that.
All right. Let's get this into the minutes that I will make a motion then that all claims have to be in by midnight of the 1st, and that the claims should be sent to both the clerk and the treasurer.
Okay.
I will second that.
All right. Any other discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Overland, aye.
Yeah.
Cronin, aye.
All right.
And I'd be more than happy to support that if anybody gives you a hard time or whatever. That's fine.
All right. Brittany introduced herself, and I will give her the floor.
Thank you. Hi, Brittany Stampahar again. One thing I did forget to mention when I introduced myself is the most important part. I have a 2-year-old son who is the light of my world, and yeah, I can't believe I forgot that part, so I apologize. And how would you like to proceed?
Negotiations that we have as we discussed, as far as salary, paid time off, what else did we,
Start date,
start date.
holidays,
Yeah.
office hours.
Office hours, there we go. So I asked Brittany to come with her proposal for us to consider. And so I will let you proceed.
Thank you. I've never had to testify for my salary on benefit package, so I'm here as a first timer. And I'm going off of what I've received in my previous jobs. So
Do you have anything written up so that we could look in front of it or no?
just have my notes, I'm sorry. I'm happy to send one right after this meeting. So I'll get started, and based off my previous experience, I would actually like to have a start date here of July 8th. My current position has asked that I stay on till the end of the fiscal year, which is June 30th. And then the first week of July, my son's daycare is closed, and so I will be home with him. So that's why I chose July 8th. The salary, so I was originally offered, well, not offered, but it was brought to me as $67,500 with $10,000 to be used as benefits or added to my salary. I would prefer that that be added to my salary. I will also ask for an addition. I'm going to request $82,500, and I am prepared to explain why if anyone would like to hear what I have to say.
So tell me, so we offered you 67, you want to add 10 onto that, so that would make it 70.
So I was offered originally $67,500 with an addition of $10,000 to be used as benefits or add to my salary.
So what you're proposing is not only add to salary, but increase 82.5.
Yes.
Okay, Thank you.
Five above what we offered.
that's fine. Just wanted to keep track of what's going on.
Go ahead.
Okay, I will keep going. I would like to be paid, and I know there was a contentious discussion, I would like to be paid every 2 weeks if possible. From what I'm understanding, it might only be monthly now, I don't know, but I would like every 2 weeks if that is doable. I would like to have potential of merit increases and cost of living increases
How often, please, I think you need to say that.
annually.
Annually.
Yes, thank you. This is my proposal for office hours, and this is completely up to discussion. I was thinking, I don't know, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 10 to 3, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It doesn't really matter to me. I would just like to be there when people are most likely to be coming in, so that they have a face to interact with. And then I would like to request paid time off in the amount of 2.5 hours per work week. That would equal 130 hours per year, which is 16.25 days, which is just about 3 weeks of vacation time.
So you're saying 2.5 per pay period?
Yes, no, per week.
Per week?
Yes.
So that'd be 5 hours per pay period, you're saying, depending, or?
Yes.
So 10 hours in a month.
Well, it actually comes out a little more, I imagine, with the 52 weeks.
Yeah, 52 weeks. So it's a total of 130 hours per year, which equals 16.25 days.
Are you proposing to delay your PTO, as you can use it for whether it be sick or whether it be?
Yes, there's a statute in the state of Minnesota that I'm not 100% familiar with, but it does require sick and leave time. I'd have to reread that, but I'm willing to negotiate that into the paid time off, if it's possible. I'm not 100% familiar with that statute.
I think kind of we can just discuss this. Right.
The only thing I had was the holidays per year. That was till the end of my list.
And your holidays should have state holidays?
Yeah.
And those would be paid?
Yes.
All right, this is open for discussion. Anyone wishes to begin? Go ahead.
I would like to see you paid, 2.5 for sick and
and 2.5 for vacation. Each pay period, I would like that delineated so that you can decide whether you're using sick or whether you're using vacation. I would also like to see that be a part of your merit discussion so that you have the ability to increase your pay and your vacation time on a yearly basis, so that increases depending on how long you stay. I think there's nothing more important as being, a parent taking care of kids, fathers, whoever, that you have that ability to do that, and it's not just being drawn from one account. Yep. And so I even go to look at 3. The state starts at 4 for sick and 5 for vacation each pay period, and they get paid every 2 weeks, so twice a month.
My question is that, you're proposing to work like 5 hours a day?
Yes, I apologize, let me clarify. So, when I originally applied for this, the job description said remote/hybrid. And so I was assuming that meant, I already have an office at my house set up, but I assumed that meant some would be remote and then some would be in person. And so the hours and days that I'm not in the office between 8 and 5, if that's agreed upon, I will be at my home office.
Where you would still be taking phone calls, could be getting applications online. Scott, are we taking any applications? Do we have any online applications at this point? Oh, okay, yeah. All right, very good.
If it makes anyone feel better, I do currently work from home, and so I have this dedicated space. I have the electricity, the internet, all of that, so that is already taken care of.
Any comments?
Yeah, I just like, one of the reasons that, we were interested of having somebody like full-time to be there so it could answer pretty much most of citizens' questions, because like Pine County, I think they're 9 to 4. What are the hours for Pine County? 8 to 4:30. So, yeah, I understand that, there may be some calls that, needs to be made or you be receiving them. But, I have problems from 10 to 3. I think, the hours need to be extended.
Okay. I think this can be, I would hate to have us fix this too definitively, especially depending on the time of the year and things like that. Because you may find with time that summertime, springtime, you may need or want to have a few more hours, but wintertime, maybe not. These things need to be figured out too. So, but yes, I wonder if, should we try to come up with, say, a number of hours per week, and that can be somewhat flexible?
Yeah, as long as it's posted, you get it so that people can see when you're there, because you're right, you got a great point. And we do need to be flexible, maybe more, like you said, when they're off and it's not trying us, just because that's when they're less doing their stuff, and then you back off.
Yeah.
So maybe it's good, flexibility on top of that.
Yeah, I think so. So, I think we can be flexible on that, adapt as we need to, if that's comfortable with you at this time.
Yeah, it was a suggestion, just so,
Yeah.
like, the possibility to work from home is still an option.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. All right, salary. Tony, what's your thoughts? Heidi, what's your thoughts?
Well, I was comfortable with our offer at that time, 67.5 and $10,000 fringe benefit could be used any which way.
So that made 77.5.
Right. And and maybe after 1 year, we can go to 82.5.
Heidi, your thoughts?
My thoughts for a similar position is that you would be making, slightly less than we would be spending the same position at the same tax base. I'm really comfortable with 82.5.
Okay, I misunderstood what you said. All right. All right. Somebody wish to make a motion?
Yeah, there's a couple more things that we need to consider for
Okay.
finishing up the job. Is rollover holiday and pay leave. If you don't use all your holiday and sick leave, you need to have at least some ability to roll over some of that. We'll have to look at that. I'm not saying all of it because, for some folks, it would be a lot. It's not going to take any time off and just keep rolling up and making it. So just some ability to make sure that you're able to do that. If it's been a busy year or whatever, I'd like to consider that. As well as the time that you're not here, so you're going to roll over phone calls and things like that. To your home location, whatever it is that you're going to be using. And then the last thing to consider is if you happen to, and you never know what's going to happen, if you end up going in the hole for your paid time off, is having the ability to still get paid, but bank that, and then, use that as something like use your return accrue to make up that difference. So I just all considerations that, in being a manager that I do today that I need to consider. Because stuff happens and it's not the employee's fault. Sometimes they have to take care of somebody and it wasn't very frustrating. So.
I appreciate you bringing that up. There are a lot of things that are not on the discussion for today. I assumed that once we got office hours and salaries set, then we could work through all the other details that people need to know about.
Yeah.
But yes, I
We
appreciate
certainly can. And when the day comes, some of that might be able to be spelled out in my contract as well, assuming. So, should be. All right. I haven't heard a motion yet.
I will make a motion that we start the salary at 82,500. That we have the ability to pay her every 2 weeks. That we will, do a farmers review with annual merit increases based upon that annually. Office hours can be flexible, we can make that determination as to be, doesn't have to be decided today. That she get paid time off, for, sick leave starting at 3 and vacation starting at 4 hours a pay period. You get all of the holidays that the state does pay off. And the other issues of the holiday pay leave, as well as some of the other details, will be discussed within the first year of your employment and determined. That's my motion.
All right, we have a second. I'll second that. I think I can be comfortable with that. All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Overland, aye.
Aye.
Back to you, Steve.
All right, thank you, Whitney, I appreciate it. One other thing is, on this is who the coordinator will report to. And I would like to make a motion that the coordinator will report to the chairman, to me. I will be the one that will be her direct contact. And since we're starting a new era in this, I also would like to make the motion that we will start fresh with myself taking over as the zoning supervisor. I have a second.
I'll second that.
Discussion. All right, thank you. All in favor, aye. Overland, aye.
Back to you.
No.
All right, supervisor other.
So is there a motion she's going to report to
the chairman for the
Yes.
motion, we did not have.
Yes, I made the motion that she will report to me as chairman, and then also it was a dual motion, and that I will take over as the zoning supervisor.
Thank you.
Supervisor other. Tony, anything?
No. Actually, maybe I can just bring it up now. Mr. Chairman, please read this into the record. Vern had brought to my attention Heidi's recent request for the audit of road and related work codes, bids, and contracts. And the clerk has contacted the state auditor's office and requested some kind of examination or audit of contracts with contractors and payments to the contractors. Since the state auditor office has followed up with the request, information on our township's contractor business active for 2022, 2023, and 2024. This includes periods of contracting when I was not the road supervisor and Vern was not serving in his current capacity. I recommended that the chairman review the matter and send a request to our attorney, Mike Curry, for review and respond to the state auditor's office. By the way, previous to all this, we offered to provide all the information for the audit by the 4th at the end of the construction season, which seemed typical. Nevertheless, we're fully willing to submit all documentation without delay. I want to assure you, Mr. Chairman and Ms. Crony and the public, we understand the board's recommitment by motion passed at the June 22nd, 2023 board meeting to assure compliance with the municipal contracting law. Everything we have accomplished in our tenure with road, our tenure is June 2023 to present, has been done in compliance with the municipal contracting law. I make a motion to appoint the chairman to take over the response to the state auditor's inquiry and turn all documents over to our attorney for handling the matter.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? I'll second that. Any other discussion?
I just want to make a correction. He said that the clerk contacted the auditor. She contacted me,
Who did?
the gal from the state auditor's office.
And why would she have contacted you?
They sent me an email and asked if she could get the information and I sent it to her.
Well, it was very specific, Mr. Sandberg, and so how did she know about Mr. Sandberg?
I do not know. I'm just saying she contacted me.
And then she also contacted me.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay. Very good.
Well, you know, we shouldn't have anything to.
It's kind of interesting that the chairman.
We shouldn't have anything to worry about.
No, we don't have anything to worry about.
No,
But the only thing that I'm worried about, we're again, over and over, we're wasting taxpayer money and dollar instead of spending it on the roads and culverts and whatever that, we're spending on attorney fee. I just want to clap and thank you guys for a good job done.
all right, so we have a motion and a second to, that I will contact the attorney and make sure that we are covering all our bases on this. All in favor, say aye. Overland, aye.
But,
One thing that I wanted to bring up under this is we also have an option as the township. It's called option D. And what it is that the offices of clerk and treasurer can be combined and then appointed. And what we have now with our new coordinator is the possibility that we could combine these two offices and then appoint our new coordinator to fill that role. And I'm not asking for anything tonight other than to put that on in for consideration. However, if we do this, there is a time limit on this because it has to go to the electorate at the next election. So this would have to be something that would be voted on at the next election. And I believe we have to get it to the county, I want to say it's 70 days prior to the election, which would mean we would have to decide at our July meeting, I believe. So, something we can consider. That's all I have. Anybody else on supervisor or other? I'd like to get this meeting wrapped up here fairly quick, so road update.
Thank you, Al. I'll keep it as brief as I can. I'm going to report here on the work that we completed in May. Some of the operations we completed were grading on our township roads. We placed just shy of 2,000 yards of gravel on various township roads. 960 yards came from our pit. 1,010 yards came from Dressel's pit out of Moose Lake. We also applied 32,956 gallons of calcium chloride to approximately 16.13 miles of township roads. This was done with a lot of coordination and the timing of this with prepping roads and the weather, and everything worked out, and to say the least, we got the last load of chloride before they shut down in Duluth, so it worked out real well with that. So also continue with some culvert installation and some shoulder repair on Daigle Lake Road, along with fixing a blind spot in that same area. So there is a grading list here of all the work that was done in May. A lot of hours spent on the roads grading. It will be all posted on our website as always. And some of the work that we've talked about for quite some time here is coming to fruition. One thing with the bridge project, it is delayed at the moment. The contractor that is supposed to come in and do his work is on some other projects, and so we're on the list here, but hope to get that done this summer yet, which when that is delayed, the asphalt is also been delayed. So just kind of a wait and see when they show up here, and that's out of our control. That's a county project. So pretty exciting news. The bridge cover is finally going up and well on its way to being completed with the majority of the construction to be done here this month. So also been trying to get the road sign and post replacement done. There's been a snafu with the contractor's schedule, mainly because there's been some type of shortage with the post that he needs, and they've been unavailable on back orders. So, in fact, he just emailed me here today and said that he has another bidder he can possibly get them from, with the hopes of completing the project this fall. So we're still on the docket. So, and yeah, that's a little bit about that. Again, we got to always give thanks to our contractors. We use Knife River, Kaminsky Paving, Dressel's, Global Excavating, Equipment Transport, and Gregory All and Utility and Excavating. So a couple things on the end here I'd like to discuss. There was conversation at last month's board meeting about the level on Lake 12. Mr. Global and myself went out there the next morning and we did some digging around. And it appears that there's many issues, back there. One of the main ones is there's according to Tim Floor, beaver dam that kind of comes through the narrows there that he maintains and has caused some problems. There's also been some debris built up in the ditches work. And then we did find an issue with some flood culverts that never got resolved a year and a half ago, on the far end of our township on Pioneer. So there's been some major work done there. I'll share more next month, but the bottom line is it appears that the lake is getting down to where it should be. So after what we discovered there right away. So another water issue, which seems to be kind of a standard conversation, is the Island Lake outlet. I received a call that the water is up on Island Lake. What are you going to do about it? And so we took a look at it, and I did remember that there was an easement agreement back in the day that somebody has. I didn't have it. I got a copy, and we have some authority to go in there and take care of that outlet, but it's actually supposed to go through Pine County Soil and Water first. They would come out and make a determination, but prior to that, it talked about doing a site visit twice a year, and it talked about either Windemere Township doing this and or their agents or the Lake Association. So I had a conversation with Chip Wells at the Island Lake there, and I made a suggestion that somebody from the association do this, that lives on the lake, and they can just report back to us and or the soil and water if there's an issue. And but everything that we can control is moving, and if there was some debris in there, it's your bucket or so, very minor, and that was taken care of. So.
On that note, currently, I went to the association meeting and I received a few calls that, they wanted to just make sure that we are the one that are responsible for that. I just said, everybody, all the lakes, we have 17 lakes over here. And I said that, you guys need to pick a representative for each lake. And if there's any issue, then call us and we'll do it. According to that lease that Vern was talking about, there was supposed to be island association that apparently never existed. So, and this lady that was upset, and, I said 20 days out of 30, we had rain in May. And then it rained in June. I said, well, that much body of water, you can't just get rid of them overnight. And the water is going through because Vern, and I, when we looked at that, there's a twigs and leaves and branches over there. And the guy was really mad at us because he said that, you came in and, you ruined my lawn. I said, we have an easement. And he said, well, I've been doing it with the shovel, all these years. I said, well, nobody knows about it and people are upset that the lake level is up. But the water is going through, but it takes time. You can't just get rid of that much water in just one small creek. So they understood that and they're gonna just work on it.
Yeah, so a couple of things here. I'd like the board, Tony, to look into this as in charge of building and grounds to consider some insurance on the bridge structure. It's an asset, it costs money, and we should look at getting insurance on it sooner than later, even through the construction phase here.
My question is, I'm not sure, sorry, anybody know, is this something we'll go through the association?
Possibly, but I guess I would consider is
I'll check
looking into that, to ensure that structure. And just want to remind everybody that we do contract under the statute for 1.345, and that's how we do all of our work here in Windemere Township. Also, this report and all of the other detailed reports are on our website. They're uploaded monthly, so everything goes back through my tenure, and you can see exactly what's been going on. Every yard of gravel, every ditch cleaning operation, every culvert, it's all on there. And the other thing is the board, along with myself, got a inquiry about sand sales, and there was one here tonight by a gentleman, and it appears that the pit boss is no longer being ready for that type of activity, and there's barely any sand that's been excavated. So you guys do what you choose, but my suggestion is that you just put this discussion on hold for indefinitely any outside sales.
There really isn't any sand.
No, there's a pile there now that we've been using on backfill for culverts and such.
Yeah, but as far as, most of it would come during crushing, is that?
That's my understanding.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's,
So I.
we don't really have any at this time.
Well, there shouldn't be any sand out of the crushing.
There shouldn't be?
No, the sand would be below the crushing center in your pit.
Okay,
Good gravel's on top of the pit, there's sand down below.
all right. All right.
So
Brian?
basically, yeah, you just want to put that discussion to an end if anybody else would ask it by motion or whatever you guys want to do, so.
Well, I think we handled that last month with Mr. Goebel being the pit boss. And I don't think we're talking about a lot of sand that would be there at this point. I know.
There's a lot of sand in that pit. I mean, part of the pit that's been utilized in the past, that's all sand underneath,
Okay,
starting from the north and the west side, or east, west, it's all sand. The only gravel that you have is on the top 10, 12 feet.
okay.
There's very little rock below that, or binder.
How are you able to determine that?
I've been crushing for years, and I
Right,
said,
but I mean, is it something that you could ask somebody?
well, you have to take some tests, more examples.
Right.
They could test that.
Because as part of the agreement to be the pit boss, it said that we were going to pay market value. I don't know how we came up with $1 a cubic yard. I did some calling around and you know, $3 for unwashed
That's our
sand.
cheapest.
That's our cheapest pit run sand. So it went from anywhere from 3 for the pit run to 6 to 11 to 15 to 7 to 8. In addition to that, we got a check cut for $120 for $1 a cubic yard. And who's making the determination? Because I remember it was Mr. Anderson, you were so adamant to make sure that we tracked, we documented, we measured, we surveyed to know exactly how much and what was coming out of that pit. So how are we doing that now with pit costs? Because we had a check for $120 for 120 yards. How do we know it was 120 yards? Who's watching that? How are we making that determination? Transparency and clarity is important. You expected that before, I expect that now.
That's a good point. You are exactly right. And as a matter of fact, Heidi, I'm still waiting on all the load tickets that came out of that pit that went to Palin Road in 2018. So if you have that, please provide it. I'm still waiting patiently. So there's no transparency going back to that. We're beyond that now. So if you just do the math on that, that's 120 yards, that's about the yard. And the board approved Mr. Goebel, a trusted local contractor who's owned multiple pits and been in business for over 30 years to do this job. So that's what we're trusting Mr. Goebel.
And he's only.
The point that that was this, and everyone voted, I really know. Determination as to how much would be paid was determined by market value. How the market value was determined was not decided. And there are other people, other contractors that would have loved to have the opportunity to be the pit boss, but they weren't even offered that opportunity. One phone call made to one person.
All right, that was last month's discussion. Thank you.
I just wanted to thank.
No, we're done. We don't have time. We have to be out by 9 o'clock.
I'm just trying to help you guys.
We appreciate your help, but you know, we gotta move forward.
Kip, can I talk to you after? I'll talk to you after the meeting. Can I do that? Thank you. Thank you. I will talk to you. So, all right, anything else?
No, I'm done, thank you.
Zoning update.
I'll be quick here. Currently working on blights. 13 letters went out to blighted properties. That's the first stage on those 13. 4 more will be going out. There's a history heading back many years on those. A different type of letter going out. We issued 7 permits since last meeting, and I have 5 or 6 pending now waiting for payment. One of those previous permits was not a permitted project, so I've received the permit and waiting on the permit fee and the penalty for that. Also been inquiring about the public boat landing. We are aware of that. The trees cut and pushed off the side. And I'm currently working on a wetland issue that's on private property that we're not sure whether or not it is constitutes a wetland, so. That's pretty much what I have for this meeting.
All right, thank you. Planning Commission? I believe the Planning Commission had some form they wanted us to approve. Oh, Scott, you've got that, that's right.
That was a modified from the working session the other night.
And this is for a conditional use permit and
Did you make more copies or just one?
She gave me that to make copies of. They were emailed to the board.
and this, yes, and this is a, an application form for that, correct? Correct. Yeah.
Mr. Altman, is this the modified one based on the meeting that we had on Tuesday, or is this the original?
I think that was the city this afternoon. She said that is the corrected, modified.
But you didn't mail that out to the board.
She emailed it to the board.
She did.
Yeah, she said she emailed it to everyone. I picked up a hard copy.
Thank you.
I have the right one.
I'm kind of curious myself why we would even need to approve it.
Well, one thing, Mr. Chairman, that you know, it's gonna be $750.
Which we approved last month.
Okay.
Oh, this,
Yeah.
I see. Okay, I see. Okay, okay, very good. Glad we got that clarified. All right, well, I have no problem with it. This has been viewed by the Planning Commission. I trust they have done their work on it, and so I would make a motion that we approve that as well as the $750 fee for application.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Overland, aye.
Bakhtiari, aye.
I'll just leave you my card.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not here to cause problems.
If you're fine, if you're fine.
I apologize.
No, you don't apologize.
You don't speak for everyone.
All right, let's continue on with the meeting. Thank you. Anything else, Planning Commission, that you know of? No? Fire District, anything?
Yes, I do. Windemere Township had 6 calls last month. The fire district is working on updating their bylaws and future agreement with the city of Moose Lake. I asked the chairman, Steve Aldrin, to have a copy for a file. And they have a steak fry on the Agate Days, which I believe is July 13. And that's all I have for fire district.
All right, very good. That time we'll review the claims. Who has, you have the claims? All right, great.
One, you know, but, and then we have claims, checks, and even though we have this new procedure where you don't have to sign all the claims, I don't want to discourage you from just passing. I mean, I want you to see the claims and read whatever you want off them. And so there they go.
I'll let you read first so we can pass them.
Yeah. you have any questions about the manifest?
You don't have to sign it.
Just look at them.
Just,
Whatever. There's some notes on there too. Okay. And,
restart sign.
21. Let's use, let's use this one.
Okay.
We can't go 40 hours in negative. We can go 40 hours in negative. Is it? Oh, good. Okay.
Paul, is this for us to keep?
Yeah, it's yours. We've got one original. Two originals.
Did Tony sign
One
this?
for me. Yeah.
You pass that one. Oh,
One for you and one for me. I can just envision Cindy over a year from now. You go over to the office and wherever that office is. 3 rings right here. And you see Paul. You have all plans for the whole year. No one. Did you just Any questions about the time?
to this point, I'm still moving through them.
Okay.
Sign the summary. We signed the summary. Yeah.
I wanted to put it on his invoice, because I will not approve that on the work, because it's not itemized. I'm not allowed to actually approve an invoice if it's not itemized. Yeah.
So
I encourage you to reach out to them and talk about it.
I'm a little curious how he would itemize. Did you want him to put like he buried, how many each stump or
No,
what?
just the hard off 16 mattresses, just like I was looking at Mr. Beckman's claim, and he put the date, and he said who he talked to, and what the roles were, or what the complaints were. Dennis did the same thing. I put on my time sheet like a monthly meeting, special meeting, if I go somewhere, and I let all my go. And all I get from go was clean up township pit, that says nothing that is not organized. It's not organized, so, I'm not approving that thing, because I don't, it's organized. That's all I'm doing.
All right, you had a second one? Just goes. All right, thank you. So the bills tonight come to the total of $99,560.90. We have a motion to pay the claims. And I will second that. All in favor, say aye. Overland, aye.
I will approve all the claims except for, the claim going to Global for the expenditures of the pit cleanup until I get an itemized claim.
Very good. Thank you. Motion carries. All right, mail. Do we have any mail? There it comes. All right. Yeah, it's a lot of advertisers.
Three things in the master plan for one, two.
Okay. At the, yeah, okay. Finish this. Get some generic. Okay. I think we already. Who's got the wife right now?
This,
We paid this, I believe, right? This is just the, yeah, conveyance of forfeited lands, yeah. Yeah.
They didn't catch the check, they only outstanding check, they have $95.
Well, because I think it doesn't go through township September.
Oh, I see. They'll just miss the check.
Yeah.
sends me, planning, just some minutes out that I took
We tried to let it white. This one with the mail.
Oh, that goes with the mail.
those to the clerk.
Okay.
Oh, there, it's signed. So that'd be signed, you see. Oops. Paula, you want to pass them? Thank you. All right, we have any other business? If not, motion would be in order to adjourn. Is there a second? I'll second it. All in favor, aye. Overland, aye.